What is up, guys? Zan from Playbook.gg, and in this video I'm here with AntCap, and we're going to continue our Madden 20 Wishlist Series, today talking about leverage in base formations defending spread sets in Madden 19 and previous iterations of the video game. Before we dive into this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the great tutorials that we've got headed your way here on the Playbook.gg YouTube channel. Okay guys, so welcome back. Now what you're watching in the background is footage of EA Madden NFL's Twitch channel. This was basically a dev diary blog type broadcast that they did a few weeks ago on their channel. We'll provide the link in the description. The reason I chose it was because one of Madden's lead developers, Clint Oldenburg, is here interviewing with Kralo. If you actually want to watch the interview, again, check the link in the description. They talk about the Superstar X Factors. I know that I think they have plans for more gameplay style blogs coming on the way, but let's get into today's topic. AntCap, what's going on, man?
I'm doing good, Zan. Thanks. I think this is the wish list videos are some that I enjoy the most, just because it's something of us talking about different things in the past that we'd like to see change for the betterment of Madden. You know, just in general, things that we've had year after year after year, or even if it's just been a recent issue, things that we just can talk about, that whether we come up with it, whether it's the community that comes up with it, but just different topics. And this one is definitely one that is definitely worth discussing in having everyone's input on it.
So a couple weeks ago, we talked about one involving why the 3-3-5 and different. Basically, what we talked about was all these dime dollar 3-3-5 type defenses where you're light in the box. You got 4 or 5 guys, and somehow these defenses can defend the run even more so. The fact that you could put safeties at linebacker in some of these sub packages and only have basically a 3-1-7 or a 3-8 style defense out on the field and stop the run. Today's topic is more so the inverse.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be talking about more or less how misaligned defenses need to get more punished in future Maddens, whether that means we're putting, bringing safeties down in the boxes and not being able to beat them over the top, whether it means leaving slot receivers unattended for without any reroute, or basically just being able to cover spread offenses with 3-4 defenses. Things that should really not equate to what we would see in real life, but can happen in Madden.
Absolutely. So again, guys, as we always talk about in these videos, these are intended to be nothing more than constructive criticisms of the game. We want to keep these things as possible, as positive as possible in the comments below. So you guys, if you have any topics you would like to discuss or input that you would like to give on this topic, so that way the developers that see these videos, or just for ourselves for future ideas for these videos, make sure you guys comment below. But again, keep it very constructive with your criticism. That's the total goal. Don't be destructive with it, be constructive with it. Now let's go ahead and get right into today's topic. So you talked about it. Base aligning your 3-4 defense, you walk a safety, maybe both safeties down in the box. You've got 8 or 9 guys in the box, and somehow you're still able to get your ass out of there and defend a 5-wide set in the pass game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've all seen it. We've seen 3-4 linebackers that are on the line of scrimmage in a cloud flat. They can get all the way to the sidelines and cover certain routes. We've seen the ability for a slot receiver running a seam route, and because of the camera angle that we play from, and I don't expect that to change, but your linebackers can cover multiple routes. They can get back to cover a seam route, but they can also come down and cover a drag route. And a lot of that has to do with just the speed and agility of that player, but their ability to also, get into the passing lane of a throw that's 20, 25 yards down the field. And there really needs to be a little bit more ability to make someone pay trying to cover more than one route that are 15 to 20 yards in distance, apart from each other.
So what basically he's talking about is we've all seen it. I mean, we see why this heavy blitz meta comes into Madden year after year, where you can get away with running, six, sometimes even seven man zone blitzes. And then you just have the guys that are in the magic spots on the field where it's about as far away from the receiver as they could possibly be. So that way they can still kind of get into their run game and defend their run fit. But they also have the ability to recover, defend, say, like a smart out route. Like we've seen that for years. Some years worse than others, obviously, but you go back throughout time, like look at 3-4 odd cover 4 drop show 2 shade down shade up. Now all of a sudden you got 3-man rush, which has historically gotten to the quarterback, and you have 8 guys in zone coverage. Behind that, you're walking the safeties down the run fit, so you've got 9 guys in the run fit down in the box, all within that tackle box area. But those outside linebackers that are in the cloud flats can still somehow run their ass all the way over to the sideline, 26 and a half yards away, because the field's 52 and a 30 yards wide, and they're able to get out there and defend the number one receiver on the sideline running a deep out route. That's personally for me, that is one of my biggest beefs year in and year out. It's been tuned a little bit in recent years, so you're able to make that throw, but that's just one of many examples. You talked about safeties walking down in the box. How many times have you seen cover 2 base a line, so your slot defenders are now down in off the edge, not even standing over the top of that slot receiver? The safeties are standing at a depth basically slightly behind the linebacker depth, maybe 9 yards off the ball, still in the tackle box. That slot receiver gets a free release down the seam, and he still can't get back behind that safety in the cover 2. Not only that, but that safety sometimes is able from that spot down in the box to get all the way out wide and defend, lobs to the outside receiver as he clears the cloud flat. We've not only seen the slot receiver unable to get vertical with a free release, but sometimes even the outside receiver can't even beat that coverage.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest things in Madden where you're allowed to get away with blitzing 7 or blitzing 6 plus a linebacker in the middle and only having a 4-man outside zone because they're not getting paid for being that aggressive. You should be able to throw the outside receiver over the cloud flat without the player getting there. Or if they overcommit to that player, the seam should be open. But every year we go ahead as Madden players and we test the spot in which if you put the safety in this position, he can double up and cover either or. Whether it's because you got a good click on where if they try to throw it to the middle, you can click onto that player. It's just that it feels like the field is not wide enough to make players pay the way the Madden plays. So it is definitely something that, from a wish list standpoint, make the player's makeup speed not be available when the ball is in the air the way it is. We've seen it a bunch of times when the ball goes in the air, the defense seems to have a little bit more makeup speed than the offense does, and that really contributes to bad alignment when it comes to Madden.
I think another thing that impacts it, I might be wrong on this. This is a total guess from me, but from what I can tell, it doesn't really appear that play action fakes also affect those safeties that you creep down into the box a lot of times, because in a cover 2 style defense, you have safeties aren't in the run fit. It's the outside corners that are responsible for forcing cutback, and then everyone else in your front 7 is responsible for playing their gap. So what players will do is they'll creep these non-run fit safeties down into the run fit. Play action doesn't really hold them to allow you to get that that free release to the slot receiver down the seam. It really doesn't have enough of an impact at all. So that's something that I kind of wanted to segue into in this topic is play action should really matter. There have been years where I have run under center offenses, and we talk about all these different elements of every good offense in the NFL, whether you're an under center like me or a shotgun player like yourself. You have to have the ability to, your screen game needs to work. Your quick pass game needs to work, and you need to be able to have a little bit of your play action game or your misdirection style game. And in Madden, in my opinion, this could be a topic for a completely different video, but it's all kind of in this same bubble. Play action needs to hold the defenders. If we're going to start base aligning, as you hear my dog in the background, sorry about that, guys. If you're going to base align and you're going to leave your linebackers in 7, sometimes 8, 9 guys in the box, play action needs to be viable to hold them in place to allow route combinations to develop on the outside to help us exploit defenses that have bad leverage against the receivers in the spread sets.
Absolutely. I can agree with you more. I mean, right now you don't get any freeze or any, ability to see that the safety has an effect on play action, right? You reap all the benefits of him being able to, get into the box, be close enough in case it is a run. But when it is a play action, they don't hesitate at all right now in a cover two style because that's not what they're designed to do. I wouldn't have a problem if you pass committed on 3rd and 19 and you do a play action. I don't want my safety to get faked out in a 3rd and 19. That's when my pass commit. But if you're not pass committing and your first step is always to go and be able to do it and haul out of there to cover those routes, but yet you still have the mindset of every time it gets handed off, you're not getting they're not going backwards and having to come back into the run game. It favors the defense, and I think that's one of the things that I would like to see. Where play action is viable, establishing a run game. The more you run the ball, maybe the lesser the awareness happens with the safeties to where now they get faked out a little bit more and play the run a little bit more. Obviously, you can only have one user player on the field, but if I don't run the ball all game and I go to a play action pass, really that safety shouldn't really get too affected. But if you are a run first player, you're an under center guy, you're running stretches and dives and finally dial up a play action and nobody gets faked whatsoever, what's the reason behind having a solid game plan? And I think that's something that I'd love to see transcend into more Maddens in order to make sure that we get rewarded for putting a solid game plan together.
Yes, that's ultimately all this is about is game balance. If somebody wants to commit 7, 8, 9 guys into the box to stop the run, absolutely, but they need to be weak on the perimeter. If somebody wants to, put the 3-3-5 defense on the field with safeties at linebacker, you should be able to establish the run game by simple virtue of physics. If you guys want to creep those safeties down into the box that aren't necessarily in the run fit, and I run a play action play, I'd like to see them still get, I'd still like to see them still have to respect that. If they are in the tackle box where they should be susceptible to, a hesitation by the quarterback, fake a handoff, whether it be shotgun or under center, you need to be able to pay that out. I go back a couple years ago to Madden 25. I ran an offense strictly from the iPhone close that year. And when people used to run these baseline defenses and walk the safeties down that year in particular, I could actually I was RPOing before RPOing was really the thing. I'm kidding. I didn't really RPO, but I could use the play action fakes to actually see a substantial difference in the defender. They would actually freeze based off of the play action rating of my quarterback and the play recognition rating of the defender in the box that was affected by the PA, and they wouldn't necessarily drop into their pass assignment, their coverage assignment until a length of time. And then obviously that was counterable by play action. So if I'd see the outside linebacker bail right away at the snap, I knew, hey, my opponent is bailing out. They see the pass, that's all they think, and then my run game is more viable. It goes both ways. You need to be able to have an established play action game to know when your opponent is really heavily committing to the pass game and not respecting the run so you can run the ball. And you need to be able to establish the run game and have a working play action complement to it against a lot of these defenses. Otherwise, you're just going to see guys down there 9 in the box all game long.
Yep, I mean that's definitely what we're looking at here is just the balance. And I think that's, if you're able to spread the field out and use the ability of a 5 wide to beat some of these 3-4 defenses, your 5-2 defenses, your 4-3s, all those type of heavy 7-8 man in the box, then you're going to get people out of those, these overload blitzes there where you can spread out a line where you got 5-6 people on the line, you got people crowding your gaps. If a spread offense is able to really open up that ability and not have somebody be able to cover not only hash mark the hash mark, but also 25 yards in depth on a seam and underneath, then you're going to start seeing people have to match up personnel. And I think that's one of the balances that we really want to see in the game, no matter what. If you come out in 5 wide, I should have to come out in a dime or a dollar or something to where, in order to have athletes on the field to cover the players in the right positionings. Right now, Madden does not pay that for you. 4-6 normal was a huge thing with the speed package over the years. And one of the biggest things is that those outside linebackers could go all the way to the sidelines and cover. And it was a little bit different in that formation than other formations. And because of that, it really allowed people to stay in these type of looks that were not only strong against the run when you went to, a fullback, halfback type of alignment, but it also worked well when you spread it out with 3, 4 wide receivers. And if we can get to the game to play where people have to adjust to spread out sets and actually have to go into defenses that match that, I think that the balance of the game is going to get in a much better spot.
Totally. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up with a few core thoughts here as we see another developer come in to replace Clint. But what we're talking about is essentially it's a number of different things all together under the same umbrella. We're talking about formational balance. 3-4 should be more susceptible to the pass. 3-3-5 with safeties at linebacker, basically a glorified 3-8, should be more susceptible to the run game. Bringing guys down in the box, they should be susceptible to play action. They shouldn't be able to bail out and cover their pass assignments nearly as easily as they do currently in the game. Nerfing the user, so to the point where they can't pick off a drag, but also pick off a post from the exact same foot plant, the exact same spot on the field that is 10 to 15 yards behind them just by holding Y in the middle of the field. That's a big one too, because what you could do is you could pack the box, stop the run, everybody disperses at the snap with no respect to the play action game. They can defend all the tough routes that are out there on the field, and then you have the ability to pick off both the high and the low option over the middle of the field. You could see how this creates imbalance in the game, and that's the whole point of these wish list topics. So this one was kind of a mix of a lot of topics, and Cap, but I think that overall this is something that EA definitely needs to tackle in Madden 20. Are there any parting words that you have regarding this topic?
No, I think you put it perfectly. At the end of the day, these videos are really just informational ones of what we've been feeling, as the years gone on, and really would love for everybody to continue to give us their thoughts in the comments below, because a lot of the stuff that you guys put in there really help us mold some of these videos, because a lot of people have the same thoughts, and sometimes, wow, that the one that person said really resonates a little bit more for this week, and we'll get to the next one. So I just want to make sure that we encourage you guys to put your thoughts in there, not only about what we've spoken on this video, but for future videos, what would you like to see in Madden 20 that we haven't discussed, that way we can just kind of put it all in the same wish list series, so that the people that really need to watch this and really kind of get that information in one spot from a constructive point is able to see that for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, guys, we're going to have more of these videos. We do them every single week here on the Playbook GG YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, as we will be getting our next one up next week. And of course, we upload every single day. If you guys are looking to improve your Madden game, whether it's now in late Madden 19 or maybe even going on into Madden 20 here as we head into the summer and fall months, make sure you guys check out www.playbook.gg with pro content written by some of the best pros in the community, guys that have won belts. Also content that you see written by the voices of this YouTube channel, myself and AntCap. So make sure you guys go check that out. $9.95 a month will get you everything on the site. If you go to a competitor, you're going to be paying more than twice that for just one bit of content. We're going to give you everything, all 25 plus game plans, every single game plan on the site, every video on the site unlocked for $9.95. You will not find a better deal out there. We understand that you have options out there in the tip space, but I promise you, none of them will approach the consistency that we show on the website. Heck, we do more YouTube content than all these other sites do paid content. So let's just put that out there. The gauntlet's been laid down. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys next week. Until then, for AntCap, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck. If you like this video, check out one of the videos on your screen right now. And for more in-depth analysis, visit www.playbook.gg for detailed game plans written by pro Madden players. Master the game with playbook.gg.